full transparency, anyone watching this, like I was you. Like if you're watching this and you're trying to figure out how to be an entrepreneur and be in this world and how to not have a job and a boss and find something that you're passionate about, I was you 16 months ago.
And if someone is here and maybe all they have is like a laptop and an internet connection and they want to start trying to make money, what would be your advice to them?
So like right now,
Josh, who are you and why are you here?
So I'm Josh. I'm the founder of 203 Media, the content agency. We do about 150,000 a month doing street interview ads for some of the largest CPG brands in the space right now, like Dr. Squatch, Goalie, Ridge Wallet, Magic Spoon, Snow Teeth Whitening, Blue Chew, Breeze, a lot of big brands. And we get live and authentic reactions to consumer brands on the street. So we trained comedians and actors in New York to go and do street interviews and get live reactions to consumer products and basically get strangers to sell the products instead of, hiring UGC creator or like an actor.
And how old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
That's insane. Okay, so I want to break down exactly how you got to the point where you are today. I think to do that, it starts all with a guy named Oliver Boccato a couple years ago. Tell me the full picture. Who is he to you? What was going on behind the scenes? And how did he help launch your career in this space?
Totally. So Oliver was and still is like one of the biggest reasons that I'm even in this space. So Oliver's been my best friend for about a decade now. And when I was 18 years old, he called me and he was like, I'm starting this e-com brand called Tabs Chocolate. And I want you to kind of come down to Miami with me, help me run and manage these UGC creators. And he really wanted like a right-hand man to come and like help him and someone that he trusted. So I just wrapped up my freshman year of college at Syracuse. And it was either go back home and do nothing all summer or go to Miami with Oliver and, sleep on the floor on a mattress and help run content for an e-com brand. So obviously, chose the latter and flew down to Miami. He paid for the flight. He paid for everything. And at the time, I didn't even really know like what UGC was. Like it was early 2022, I believe. And we were really one of like the first, e-com brands to do that kind of marketing. Like there was no money in ads being spent every day. There's no like Facebook ads. It's all organic content. So I had a lot of learning to do, but I think he really saw that, I was a good person. He could trust me and he saw a lot of potential in me.
When we first spoke, you mentioned that when you started, you were pretty much absolutely horrible at
terrible
doing the job.
Yes.
Why were you so bad? And then how did you go from being one of the worst performers on his team to now one of the best performers in the space?
Right. So, I think that was for when I was making content for his next business, Study Buddy.
Yeah.
At Tabs was really for like the first like few months over the summer. And then I ended up just going back to college. Oliver then dropped out of school and pursued Tabs. He ended up scaling Tabs, one of the most viral and well-known e-com brands in the space. And then a little over a year ago, he started a second business called Study Buddy. And he needed a head of content for that as well. Well, not necessarily like a head of content, but someone to make street interviews for his SaaS. And because his competitor was doing street interviews and doing really well with it.
Right.
So he called me and he asked me, like, do you want to do street interviews, for my SaaS? And at the time I was in college still. And I was like, yeah, like I would love to do it. He offered to pay me $2,000 a month to go and do 30 street interviews. And I was like, bro, you just like being super generous because, we're friends? Or is this like are you getting a good deal on this? And he's like, no, like $2,000 a month for 30 unique ad creatives a month is like very cheap in this space. And I was kind of floored by that. And I was abroad with my friends and I started just going out and street interviewing every single day. And I was terrible. As you just said, horrible. Like I was in London at the time and nobody in London knows what a street interview is. It isn't like, New York City where everyone's a street interviewer.
Yeah.
But everyone was pretty bad and they give terrible reactions. My questions sucked. I had zero camera presence. And I was just horrible. And he was pretty straight up with me. He was like, yeah, these like are not good. So a little over a month later after, hiring me and paying me, he was like, basically fired me and was like, these videos aren't performing. But, him being the great friend that he is, I got back from abroad and I was about to start my corporate internship, doing like marketing sales for a company here in the city. And the week before I started, he was like, bro, I think, this is a really good niche that like a lot of brands would want. Like if you did really put time and effort into this, like this could probably be something. And at the time I'd always wanted to be like, do social media, be an entrepreneur, own my own business, etc. But it was a little hard for me to grasp just how big the niche really was, of how many brands are really out there. I think as like a regular consumer, you see like the big brands, right? Like, I mean, this isn't sponsored, but I won't name the name. But you see all the big brands, Nike, Aloe, etc. You don't realize like how many just like $500K to like $10 million a year, it's like brands there are out there. Like there's endless amount of brands, and they all need one thing, and that's content, especially entertaining, engaging content that doesn't look like an ad. So at the time, I really couldn't grasp just how big the space was, but I decided to quit my internship. I emailed them the night before, and on that Sunday, Jake Paul was having his press conference with Mike Tyson in New York City. So me and Oliver, we snuck backstage. We met Logan and Jake Paul. I kind of told Logan Paul my idea. He gave me a quit, like, you should run it. And then went back to Oliver's apartment, emailed the company, quit the internship. Oliver put a little tweet up for me on Twitter, along with my other friend, Matt Epstein, who also has a pretty big Twitter following. And they tweeted for me. They got me my first few brands, and I was off to the races. I really had no case studies. I had nothing to show. I took payment like after the deliverables, like not up front or anything, and just started running around New York City with some brands that you've probably never have heard of. And it's very hard to think like what just started as a little idea running around a park, grew into what it is now.
And you'd be running around New York City basically with a mic and trying to get to interview people.
Yeah, so I just had like a microphone, and then I would hold the product, and then I had a videographer with a backpack with like 5 brands in it, and we would just run up to people in New York and be like, hey, like, what do you think of this product? Like, I didn't even know what an ad creative was. I didn't know what ROAS meant. I didn't know what media buying was. Like, I didn't know what any of this really was. But it spread like wildfire. And like the first 3 brands that I had, they're like, hey, my buddies want you to do this for them. Cause I was charging like dirt cheap rates. I was undercutting everyone. And then I had all these agencies starting to reach out to me like, hey, like, could we pay you $5 or $6 grand a month to only exclusively work with us? And I was like, at first I was like, well, it's like double what I was about to make my internship. But I was like, wait, if you guys are offering me this like immediately right now, like what happens if I just like keep going? Like, could I get brands myself? Could I get brands that trust me myself? And I didn't have, a payment processor. I didn't know any of this, but I kept going on Twitter, and from Twitter and just referrals, like I did really good work. And unlike most agencies, right? When you work with the agency, you usually pay the founder of the agency. He goes, thank you so much for your money. And then all of a sudden you get put in a Slack group with like some person you've never met. And then you wait like 30 days to get your deliverables, and the communication is not great. Whereas for me, you gave me money, and then you call me, you text me, whatever. Like I FaceTime you immediately. Hey, I'm in the park right now. Like, I have your product right here. Like it was very, it was very just like they could tell I was hustling. And between a work ethic, me being 21 years old, full of energy, a lot of brand owners kind of saw me I was walking 30, 35, 40,000 steps every single day around New York City. And I wouldn't go home until I got the best reactions. And they just saw that hustle and that drive, and it was a kind of a wide open market. Like there's no one really doing it at this scale, at this intensity. And yeah, I mean, I can keep going on and on about it, but I think I did 15 brands month 1. By the end of the summer, I had worked with over 75 brands, and then ended up like dropping out of college, and we can get more into it, but yeah.
And for your first month, how much did you make in revenue for that first month?
Month 1 was 31,000. It was like probably 26,000 profit because there was no costs. Month 2 was 55,000, probably 46 or 47,000 profit because it was just me.
Yeah.
Like there's just a videographer following me around, and my editor who's actually still with me to this day, Kamika, who was editing for $3 grand a month.
And you decide to take this leap. You're like, okay, I'm going to quit the internship, but technically you don't have any money coming in the bank yet when you quit your internship.
Yeah.
What convinced you to give you that leap of faith? Was it that Jake Paul and Logan Paul interaction? Or?
Honestly, Oliver was a really big pusher. Matt Epstein really pushed me. Matt and Oliver, I would say, those are some of like my 2 closest friends in the space right now. Like besides from like my home friends who I love dearly, and like, always my best friends, Matt and Oliver were like very much like crushing it. Like, they're both still crushing it. And I saw them work really hard, and how intense they were moving and how much passion they had for the work. And I just felt like I need to have something. Like I need to feel passionate. Like I need to work hard. Like a lot of my friends at the time were like, still just like kids in college. Like I was in a frat. Like a lot of them were just like wanting to hang out and vibe. And like I saw the two of them just putting their heart and soul into their business. And I wanted to find that. And as soon as like, I'll kind of never forget it. I was walking around the park. It was maybe like 2 or 3 weeks into this. And I got a text message from one of my clients. Hey, my buddy wants this. For how much for 20 videos? I said 3,000. And this was the first time I charged upfront. So I sent him a Stripe link for $3,000. Without even getting on the phone with me, without even talking to me, he just hit that link and just texted me paid. And just like that, $3,000 just got wired to my bank account. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like before this, I had less than $1,000 in my checking account. And, by the end of that first month, I had like $28,000 in my checking account. And I was just like, my mind was just like blown. And I was like, I could do this forever. I was like, I like to talk to people. I'm super outgoing. And like I could just wake up, go talk to strangers all day, make 50 grand a month, go to sleep. I was like, this is awesome. Like why do anything else?
What was the moment when you decided, you know what, this is killing it. I'm going to drop out of college, go all in. And how did you approach that?
So, over the summer, I'd saved up my first 6 figures by the end of that summer. So it was like 0 to like
in like 4 months, basically.
In like probably 11 weeks or 12 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was pretty quick. And because a lot of it was just like profit, like it was, I didn't really have any expenses at the time. And so I was debating on, okay, like I do have enough of a safety net where I could probably not go back to college and, live in New York. And if I never sign another brand, could be good for a couple of years. Well, I mean, not a couple of years in New York, but at least a year.
Right.
But there was no business, right? It was just me. I had a new videographer every like 3 or 4 weeks because they kept they weren't like full-time guys. I had one editor who was in Croatia, and that was it. There was absolutely no team. And I just undercut all the agencies we charge for UGC videos. I charged like $100 a video or something. Every other UGC agency charges like $200, $300, $400 a video. So that's why I was getting so much demand. And I was like, okay, like I could, but there was no like business. There was no, like if I broke my ankle or I got the flu or something happened to me, this whole business crumbled. So I decided to go back to college, and I was there for 3 days. And while I was in class, my phone was just going off. Like more people wanted these videos. And I was like, fuck, like I'm losing like this is like $12,000 I'm like saying no to because I'm sitting in this marketing class. And, I'd already signed Blue Chew. I'd already worked with Snow Teeth Whitening. I'd already worked with Breeze. Like I'd already worked with Laundry Sauce, like all these big brands. And they were all still reaching out to me for videos. So I decided to fly back to New York. And I still stayed in college, but I moved my classes to Monday and Tuesday. So then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would street interview all day and sleep on my friend Matt Epstein's couch. Matt Epstein had just graduated because he was a year above me. He was living in the city, and he was helping me so much. He was helping me on Twitter, retweet for me, being so supportive, showing me like how to kind of build this to an agency because he owns a very successful agency himself. And he was showing me like how to set up Slack, like how to do onboarding forms, how to systematize this. So I was sleeping on his couch every night, street interview all day, go back to the couch, do outreach all night long, wake up, repeat, wake up, repeat, wake up, repeat. And then Sunday nights I'd fly back to school. Monday, Tuesday, go to class. Tuesday, fly back to New York, back to the couch. And I did that for 4 weeks. And after the 4 weeks, just back and forth, I was just about to like explode. Like, there was just so much chaos. I had a suitcase full of just like consumer brands that would just lug with me everywhere I went. And I was like, okay, like I kind of have to make up my mind. Like I had my foot in both worlds. And I was like, I have this like frat, Greek life, like party school life, where I can just kind of coast, hang out with my friends and have a good time, and then figure it out after college. Or I was like, I have this business that's making me 30, 40K a month. Who knows how sustainable it is? Who knows how long the street interview niche is going to last? Who knows, am I going to be able to build a team? Am I going to be able to find a partner? Am I going to be able to make this a business, like an organization? Or am I just going to be a glorified freelancer forever? So I was in marketing. I left because Rob Gronkowski's Ice Shaker, I got intro to him. And his brother, Chris Gronkowski, hopped on a call with me. And they're one of the bigger Shark Tank brands of all time. And he got on a Zoom call with me. And he was like, yeah, I want like 30 street interviews, paid me $4,000 on the phone call. And I was just like, fuck it. I don't know if I can swear, but I was like, I was like, fuck it. Like there's clearly something here. And I went back, put all my stuff in my car, drove my car to my home, to my house in Connecticut, took a train to New York with my suitcase full of brands, went to Matt's couch, slept on his couch for over a month, and just every single day, it was just like success loves speed and momentum. Like success and speed go hand in hand. So I saw this from very early on. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders that I've met, their biggest weakness is they move too slow. They think, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And like they overanalyze. Where my biggest weapon was the fact that I was very, I didn't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And because I didn't know anything, I remember being on a sales call and a brand was like, what kind of typical ROAS do you see? And I literally just Googled, what is ROAS? Like, I didn't even know.
During the call,
like, I didn't even know. But like, I'd already, like, this was early on, but like, I didn't know what to know. But because I moved so fast and all day long, I just filmed content. I'd post about it all day long. And then I would just reach out to more people every night. It was like a conveyor belt. And I didn't even have anywhere to upload footage. So I'd go to the Apple store at night and I'd plug in the SD card from the day to the Apple store computer. And then I would just make the link public. And then I'd just email that link to my editor in Croatia. And then I'd wake up and the 10 videos would be ready to go. And they'd just be sent to the clients. And I would just wake up and repeat. It was like a conveyor belt. And as long as I was up and ready to go, this business ran. And I was just able to move with such speed. And I was so nimble. I used to set my alarm for like 4 o'clock in the morning because brands overseas wanted videos. So I'd wake up like 4 a.m. I'd get on the phone, but negotiate with them for like $1,000 or $900, whatever they wanted to pay me. And then I would go back to sleep and then wake up at 9 and go, like, I was just so all in, so consumed. There's nothing else in my head that I even considered a thought that mattered in my life besides selling people streaming packages. It was all I cared about. It was all I talked about. I've now kind of tried to like have a life and make friends and like be a kid and kind of have some sort of balance, but there is no balance, especially like, as you know, when you're starting out, there's genuinely, like, it's going to sound bad, but there's nothing else in your life that should matter besides the success of your business. There's nothing else. And that was my viewpoint. And I just street interviewed till I collapsed every day.
That's why I personally believe like having a plan B is the most dangerous plan you could possibly
100%.
have.
There shouldn't be.
Because the moment you have a backup plan, you plan to fail. It's like if you want to win and you want to win big, you're better off just going all in.
Otherwise, just swinging as hard as you possibly can.
Otherwise, don't even do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly, and that's the other thing I realized too. But when I left college, like if I want this to work, I can't like have my foot in both worlds. I was like, I kind of have to just burn the boat and just see what happens. And we can get into like chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, but that initial, like when I left college, I was like blasting Drake, and I was just like, I just made these videos for myself. Like I would rather, like if I look back on this video in 5 years and you're not, if you don't own it, like a media empire and extremely, like I had all these exact things I wanted for myself. Like I was so serious. Like I would be in a crippling depression. And I would just say that to myself. Like I would like record it, and I would like driving home, like when I would stop for gas, like you're dropping out of college right now. If this doesn't work, like I'll kill you pretty much. Like literally, like I was so set on, like I would just talk to my future self. And I was like, you're burning the boat, you're going all in. This has to work. And if this doesn't work, I'm gonna look back in this video and I'll be in a crippling depression. I'm
sure there's people around you that were probably thinking, because similar thing with me is like, oh, that's not healthy. Like it's not the way to live life. What do you say to them?
I mean, the thing is, like, there's a reason. If I wanted to have like, I wasn't happy. like that's the answer. Like I wasn't relaxed. I wasn't like at peace. I wasn't happy. I'm still not. Like my happiness comes from my ambition to keep pushing the field goal back and achieving. Like that's what makes me happy. Like having something to aspire to. Like if I didn't have anything to aspire to, and it was like, and it would just be normal and like have it be at peace and be like that doesn't make me happy. What makes me happy is setting massive goals and doing everything I can to achieve it. And even now, like I kind of look back on the last year, because this has been just about 12 months since I made my first street interview. feel grateful to be where I am right now. But I feel like I'm a toddler, and I just learned how to crawl and like say my first words. And, you know, in my head, I'm running marathons. So like, I still feel like so early. And I'm like, wow, if this is what I've achieved in 12 months, like where am I going to be in 24 months, 36 months, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Like, I'm not going to slow down. Like my foot is on the gas. And if you look at the best entrepreneurs in the space, Gary Vee, like all these guys, their foot's on the gas. Like there's no coasting. There's no balance. There's no like just trying to find peace. Like there's no peace. There's peace in chaos.
You told me when we were on a walk with our mutual friend, Nathan, that you started this out, you're basically a freelancer making around like $31,000 a month. Most of that was profit.
Yeah.
What changed from going from a freelancer to actually operating this like a business? What did you do differently?
It's team. And that's the number one answer. So how it works, and it's something that was really impactful to learn, was entrepreneurship is just games. So I went from like 0 to 1 very quickly because I had very good product market fit and extreme hustle, right? So when you're building a business, especially, you know, there's a few ways to make money, right? You can sell your time, you sell a service, you can sell a product. You can do a few things. So when you're selling a service, you're selling your time for money. So how it works is you sell your time for money, and you want to be able to do it in a way where you're stacking a lot of cash so that you can make your first hire. Because eventually you're basically like building up levels. You want to get to a point where there's people doing all the work and you're just business development, acquisitions, basically be like the face of the company. But when you start, you're a freelancer selling your time for cash. So I was able to undercut the market, but still charge enough money. And I wasn't dumb. Like I wasn't blowing all my money and buying watches and buying stuff. I just saved it. So that way I could, you know, make my first hire to get another street interviewer, and to hire someone to, you know, come out and make a production assistant, and just start to like hire people, because getting from 1 to 2 is all about team. That's all that matters. Like no matter, because you get to a point where you have more work than you can handle. So the only way for that to scale, and the only way for me to scale, was to have other people doing the street interviews and having more editors, just more people working. So that way, you know, I could get out of fulfillment and into acquisition. And
to get those more people doing the street interviews, you tried to bring people in.
Oh, it's next to impossible.
Yeah, they were horrible.
It made me almost fail. Yeah.
And then what changed? Because the first few months, a lot of them were horrible. The videos were performed bad.
Yep.
And then you started to realize like this is a problem. What did you do? What did you change from that to try to get to where you are today?
Totally. So I only brought on my first. So September, October, November, I was like on a high. It was just me. There was like no other employees, like pure profit. And I was like, I don't need anyone. I was like, why would I want to hire? Like, this sucks. I've never hired before. Like, it was hard. I was having a really hard time doing it. I was like, do I just like post on my Instagram? Like, who wants to do streaming? Like, how do you even hire someone? And so I was like, why do I hire? Like, I'm saving all this money. Why do it? Then it got really cold in New York. People stopped wanting to be street interviewed, and the park where I filmed, Washington Square Park, got empty. The brand's like, this doesn't look as good. And I was like, shit. like, what do I do? Like, I was like looking at my account, like, how long can I pay rent for? If like I have to take the winter off, I was like kind of freaking out. And I had nowhere to stay. I had to get out of Matt's couch. And I moved into this random person's loft in Tribeca, who I had some like crazy roommates, and I hated being there.
How did you find them?
It was just a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend who had like a random place, and they were the weirdest people, and I was so lonely. And it was like November in New York City, and I had no team, and I was really scared then. I just come off this whole high of the summer, feeling like invincible, and then all of a sudden it was cold. All my friends are in college. I like had basically nowhere to stay. And I had no one to like lean on. Like, it was just me every single day going to this park and talking to strangers. And I was gassed. I was burnt out. I couldn't, there was days where I'd go to the park and I'd turn the mic on, and I was just so physically exhausted that like I just like turn it off and I would just go home. And like then the brands kept like pinging me like when the video's coming, and I was just, I started getting so much anxiety because I felt all the pressure on my shoulders, like all these brands needing content. Like, I have nowhere to go. Like, I have no friends. Like, I'm so lonely. It's like dark at 4 p.m. Like it used to be light till 8 p.m. Now it's dark at 4 p.m. And it cuts my filming time to like 20 minutes. Like I was like, what? I was just so lost. So I started going into the subway stations and just trying to stop people in the subway because that was warm. And that didn't work. So then I would just post my Instagram story like, who wants to work? Like who wants a job? Like I need someone. I don't know what I want you to do, but I just know I need someone else to help me figure this out. And I had this guy, Tyler, go on casting networks and find me like actors who I'd pay like $30-$40 to an hour to come out and just pretend to be strangers in street interviews. So for like 2 weeks to like catch up, I would like fake some of the street interviews and I would just script it. So that just kind of helped me like not have to go beg strangers to stop, but like it allowed me to like breathe. And then one of those actors that showed up to film with me in a subway car, she ended up like being really good. And she was like, can I come back? Can I keep doing this? Like, do you need more hosts? Do you need this? I was like, yes. I was like, that's exactly what I did, as a matter of fact. And 2 of those hosts ended up being pretty good. And it turned out that a lot of actors in New York had a lot of spare time and not too much money. And I was like, wait a second, like how available are you? She's like, I'm pretty available. And she ended up, this is now December, and she was like, could we do this in Miami? And I was like, we could definitely do this in Miami. Like 100% do this in Miami. Like, when do you want to go to Miami? She's like, I'll go tomorrow. And I was like, that works. That works for me. So the next day I booked our flights to Miami. We stayed at a friend's house and we used Oliver's car because he was in New York.
Yeah.
And this girl that I'd never met before, who, had a boyfriend, had her own life, like had everything, kind of saw that, where this was going, kind of saw an opportunity for herself as well. Came with me to Miami, and the 2 of us, my editor, and another like manager kind of role, like admin person at the time. So I started building like that first team, and she was now able to go film street interviews. Like for 2 weeks, I filmed her doing street interviews and just gave her notes and I told her how to hold the mic, how to stand, how to stop people, how to, say the right call to actions, etc. And she had friends in Miami that she was also able to stay with too. So it worked out. And I was able to stay with my friend.
So today you post hundreds of pieces of content every single month for your brands. You'll have hundreds of pieces of content. I think one of the things that you talked about earlier is also speed.
Yeah.
But how do you balance having that velocity, having that volume, while also making sure every single piece that you put out is the best that it could possibly be?
So the answer is like you don't. Like, especially at first, like you can't be a perfectionist. Like you shouldn't, right? So you go back and you learn on the job is what I've learned. Go back and watch Jake Paul's like first vlogs. Go back and watch Logan Paul's first vlogs. Go back and watch David Dobrik, Casey Neistat, Mr. Beast, like any creator you respect. Go back and watch their first videos. These suck. They're terrible. Go back and watch anyone doing anything when they start, and they all suck. The whole point is to get good at something, you need to do it as many times as possible. And to do as many times as possible, you need to do it as fast as possible, right? Like I could have been like, no, I'm not good enough. Like I'm only gonna take on 1 brand a month until I'm good. No. Like it's part of life. Like Jake Paul could have been like, no, I'm not sure if I'm great at content yet. I'm gonna keep practicing it. No, he just started daily vlogging every single day. And month 0 to month 6, by month 6, he was very good at vlogging. Why? Because he did it every single day, and he was okay looking like an idiot. He was okay looking dumb. He was okay being bad. He was okay getting criticized. And I think having the courage to do it when you suck and do it when you're bad and when you're a beginner, and being able to just know that to get great at anything is just repetition and consistency. Because you physically will not fail, and you will not be bad at anything if you just do it 1,000 times. You can't, it's impossible. So just knowing that you're going to suck, knowing that people may not be happy with your work, but knowing that you need to do it to get better, that's what you need to do.
You want to build the biggest media entity in the country.
Yes.
What does that look like for you, and how do you plan to actually go out and execute on that?
Sure. So the street interview niche is not going to be around forever, right? But this is like my Trojan horse. My Trojan horse into the world of advertising and content, social media, right? So now I have connections. Now I'm known, right? I have some success. And this was kind of like my door that opened into being in this world now. And just like stay in this world. Because the whole game of being in this world is just being able to survive. If you survive in this entrepreneurship game, on this e-com world, if you survive in here for 20 years, you will be rich. And the whole point is just you have to stay alive. You have to keep going. A lot of people drop out. A lot of people fail. A lot of people quit. So anyways, I saw this as like my Trojan horse into this world, and to get relationships with some of the biggest brands, to get to and to get really good at advertising. But where this is going, like live social shopping is going to be huge. Like we will definitely have a live social shopping component to our agency in the future. And we're going to be a full media conglomerate. It's like I brought in a partner and his agency a couple months ago, and they were doing similar monthly revenues to us. And they've been around for close to half a decade now with super sticky clients, high LTV. So they've kind of come in and very much like helped me build a real system here. So now we have like a storage unit, about 10-minute walk to Washington Square Park. We have a PA that goes to the storage unit, picks up the brands for the day, sets up a booth in the park, and then we have all the actors come throughout the day, get the briefs that are printed out. They can memorize the briefs, go out, shoot the products, come back, get the next brand. So now it's like a real operation that I don't even go to the park anymore. I don't even need to be involved. I can just like text in our Slack channel what brands need to be shot. But we have our shot list like 2 weeks out already planned. So we're way more organized. We have way more systems. It's way more of an operation. We're moving all brands over to a retainer model. At first, a big way I was able to succeed was I didn't really do long-term commitments, did short-term commitments. But yeah, we're really building us into a multi-7-figure agency already. And then that on top of adding like internal upsells like podcasts, live social shopping, and then all other kind of content formats. Like brands need built through content. Content is king. I mean, I don't know who coined that term, but it's true. Brands and personalities and building in public is the future of advertising. So, we're just gonna be the first movers, and whatever niche and vertical is next.
What does your day look like?
So I wake up, I turn off Do Not Disturb, check Slack, and then go get an extra large cold brew, and then hop on my morning team call on my phone.
Wait, so you did the call on your phone.
Yeah.
Why not a computer? Do you not use your computer?
I don't use my computer. I don't even know where it is right now.
You don't know where your computer is?
No. I don't think I've gone on it maybe a few times in the last like 6 months to like watch some YouTube, but I do all my work from my phone. I don't really like to sit down. A lot of people when they do work, they're sitting at a computer, and I am moving 24/7. Take all my calls on my phones. I have Slack on my phone. Like I have a big phone, but I like to do everything while moving. Like I write emails while moving. I write Slack messages while moving. I make revisions on edits and make all the notes while moving. I'm constantly walking. Either if I'm in my apartment, I just walk in circles, or if I'm on calls, I always take the calls like while just moving. So like this is probably the longest I've sat down for. In probably months in full transparency. That's why Stream Views is a great job.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to sit down. I could just walk around New York City all day long.
Ankur Nagpal from Teachable is very similar. I think he built that to 250 million, but all of his calls that he takes now for his latest company, every single call, he does not typically do them through Zoom unless he absolutely has to. Yeah. He goes on a walk, goes on his phone, and just walks while he's taking the call.
I'll do Google Meets if it's like, an introduction sales call or something, but it'll probably be on my phone. And I can like prop it up and like sit down for that.
Our clients not like, why the fuck are you on your phone? They're just
most of our work all referral based. Okay. So like it's usually not me like sitting down like a presentation of why you need Stream View ads. It's like they're very warm. They've probably met me before. They've probably seen my work before. It's more so like here's what we kind of want to like do. Could you do this for us? Pretty much. And like this is what we offer, and we kind of like work it out in the sales call. But it's not many like complete introduction calls. It's all, we don't run ads. This is something I didn't even talk about, but we're pretty much 100% referral based agency. Like we've scaled to Dr. Squatch, to Ridge, to Obvi, to all these big brands, 100% from referrals. I've never done cold email. I've never run an ad. We barely do any outreach. It's all just referrals.
How do you build that strong of a referral engine?
You do really, really good work. You over deliver, and you provide a service that not too many other people are doing.
You've also wanted to build a moat, and you think about defensibility a lot.
Yeah.
What does defensibility look for you right now, and how do you go about building that out?
Yeah, so I really didn't want to start doing media and like telling people what we're doing until we did have that moat where like you couldn't just, grab a microphone and run around a park. Like we now have over a dozen creators, right? We have over 25 person team now. And yeah, I because there isn't like the person watching, like this is an amazing, hustle to start doing is just content for brands. Maybe not stream reviews, but you can do UGC for brands. You can do any kind of content for brands, shoot B-roll for them, like do anything. But I really wanted to have a team. I really want to have a sustainable business, not just, churn clients and try to beg for new clients. Like I really wanted to get to a point of like more I can predict the next week. I think before I couldn't predict anything. But yeah, now that I'm at a point where there is team, there is infrastructure in place, there is real results. Now, the only thing that's stopping from going from 150 a month to $1 million a month is just more people knowing that we exist.
How did it feel to hit your first 6-figure month?
Great. Especially as in full transparency, anyone watching this, like I was you. Like if you're watching this and you're trying to figure out how to be an entrepreneur and be in this world and how to not have a job and a boss and find something that you're passionate about and to do as a career, I was you 16 months ago, maybe even less, 14 months ago, honestly. And I genuinely don't feel any different now. I would say the number one feeling that I do feel that is different than 14 months ago was an immense feeling of gratitude. I just feel so grateful. Like even if this all turned off tomorrow, you turn off the cameras, a bank account to zero, like even if all this came down, like this roller coaster, this ride that I've been on for a year now, I will tell my grandkids about forever. And for me, like I'm playing with house money now. It feels like, even though I'm still so early and I'm still so young, I feel so grateful just to be able to have this opportunity. But the number one thing is you need to exploit a niche. You need to find a niche, find something that someone will pay money for and get really good at it and just do it as much as possible. That's number one. And then number two is have your ear to the ground. So like now that I'm a little bit in the space, I now see so many opportunities to exploit, and you need to get to a point where you need to sell your time for money so that you can pay rent and eat ramen noodles for like at least 6 months so that you can see. Up until that point, you're like heads down, just trying to get a dollar. As soon as you can get to the point where maybe you have 10 grand or 15 grand or something, just some sort of breathing room, then you can kind of like look around and see what's happening. You go on Twitter, you go on LinkedIn, go watch podcasts, see what other people are doing and see what you can do better. And it's just personal brand to service. That's it. You need people to know you're providing a service and to get really good at the service. So whatever that service is, you should be making content around that service every single day and then be getting as good as possible to do that service and then train people to do that service. That's the formula for going from like 0 to like 100,000.
If somebody's listening to this and they might have had their first big hit like you did with street interviews, how do they know what's the best next vertical to go into next? And how do you evaluate that?
That's going from once you have like a little bit of success, you know that success is a lot of it's like where preparation meets opportunity, knowing the right people, and then just being very aware of what's happening, in the space. So like right now, there's like a live shopping booth in Santa Monica. Let's say a couple million in profit a month, just booths, actors, and it's like QVC pretty much for like TikTok shop brands. You wouldn't know that, like my parents don't know that exists. Right? Like my home friends, like a lot of people that I'm friends with outside the space probably don't even know that it exists. It's doing a couple $1 million in profit. The founder's in his mid to late 20s. So and like just seeing that, I'm like, whoa, that's awesome. That doesn't make me discouraged. Like we could set that up in my apartment. I could set up a booth, a backdrop in my apartment tonight. I can then DM brands until one of them responds and start doing it for them, use them as a case study, start posting the case study, making content around the case study, and get my second brand, third brand, fourth brand. So you want to be the buccaneer, not the pioneer. You don't necessarily want to be like the very first person to do something, but you want to go and see what other people are doing, seeing what other people have any success with, and that what you could do better than them. So like I'm seeing this Santa Monica live shopping studio. They're doing a great job. But it's not rocket science. It's cameras, it's brands, it's having the cash to be able to build. That's the other thing. You do need money to be able to deploy. Until you have money to deploy, you need to sell your time for money. You need to sell your time, provide a service so that you can have cash to be able to deploy. And then just trying it and failing it until you figure it out. That's it.
And if someone is here and pretty much all they have is they don't have a ton of resources, maybe they're a college student, maybe all they have is like a laptop and an internet connection, and they want to start trying to make money, what would be your advice to them?
You go to people that are a couple levels above you, and you add value to them for free. So like right now, I currently have who's going to be an employee, who's not even an employee, staying with me on an air mattress, who I'm going to hire as a full-time content creator for like $6,000 a month plus commission. He's going to make 6 figures a year. He's currently 24 years old, living with his parents in Philly, in Pennsylvania. And he just kept texting me, told me he would interview and make content for me for free. Showed up to the park, showed up on set to go shoot. I didn't even know he lived in Philly. Did amazing work. Next day did amazing work. And I asked him to go out for dinner. He told me he has to go back to Philly. And I'm like, why are you going to Philly? He's like, I live in Philly. I'm like, you live in Philly? You've been driving 3 hours each way just to come here for free? He's like, yeah, I really want an opportunity. Boom, you're now hired. You're ready to go. I moved him in with me until he found an apartment. And now he's my boy, but he showed me like he's willing to work. He's up all night long, do content ideas, write new scripts for brands. Like he's all in. That is someone that I will bring with me forever with every venture that I go into. So if you don't have money, go find someone that's 1 or 2 levels above you. Go on Twitter, go to LinkedIn, just find their email, like show up to their office, find out where they live, like text them until they respond, and just add any kind of value to them that you think is necessary. Do it for free, and they will hire you.
And if you're the person running that business, how do you find those people?
It's luck, man. It's so luck. Like I found my best talent. It's like you just keep going until you find it. Like I never went like the headhunter route. It was all just referrals, and just sourcing through people until you find someone.
And for a couple of closing questions, the first one is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
What if it works out better than you imagined?
What if it works out
better than you imagine? Like most people, when you go to try anything, they're like, well, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens? Well, what if this? Like, what if you succeed more than you could possibly imagine? Like, why not you? Why not you? Why can't you be the youngest billionaire in the world? Why can't you sell a company for hundreds of millions of dollars? Why can't you do all these incredible things? Like the people that you're watching succeed on your phone, on social media right now are no different than you. They're not smarter than you. They're not any different than you. I've sat in rooms with people that I used to look up to as a kid, and they oftentimes are less impressive than you think. Honestly, a lot of them aren't that nice. A lot of them, like, they don't work that hard. Maybe they did for a period of time, but yeah, a lot are killers, and a lot are amazing operators, and they're rightfully successful. I'm talking more so like in the entertainer world. But they're no different than you. And a lot of them, the only difference is they tried. And most people's biggest fear is not failure, but it's failing publicly. It's having their circle, where that's like their hometown friends, their college friends, their peers, their girlfriend, or whatever, like watching them fail publicly. That's people's biggest fear. And if you can just get over that, like when I left college, I was wearing like a corn hat for like Love Corn was a brand, and I was running around a park like in a corn outfit. Basically like a glorified, like, the mascot side of a car dealership. Yeah. I like glorified one of that but they were paying me $4,000. I was like, fuck, like screw it. Like I have no pride. I don't care. I'm in my hustle phase right now. And most people just wouldn't be willing to drop out of college to wear a corn costume and run around a park. Like they just wouldn't be. But there is no limit. The only limit to your success is how big you can think and how big you can imagine. And a lot of people have a glass ceiling above them, and they just wait for permission, because you're taught your whole life you have to ask permission. Everything up until you're an adult, you have to ask permission for. Even to get into the classes you want in college, even to get a job, you have to ask for the job. Like to do anything, you need to ask. You have to ask to the bathroom in middle school, like everything. You have to ask your parents permission. You have to keep on asking permission. It gets so ingrained in you to ask permission to do anything that you realize there is no red tape. And most people live their life as an elephant with one of my like mentors told us to me. Most people live their life as an elephant with a chain attached to their ankle, but that chain is attached to a thumbtack. And they think because they have a chain on their ankle, they can't move. But in reality, there's nothing that chain is attached to. Like the elephant can just walk. There's no red line. That elephant can just move freely. But because there's a chain on his ankle, he assumes it's attached to like a brick wall. And most people, they just assume they can't do anything. And they assume that they always have to ask permission. I've never asked permission for anything. I wasn't an agency owner. I've never run a business. I've never made an ad. I never did anything. But I just tried, and I looked like an idiot, and I sucked.
They're held back by their own minds.
But yeah, they think because more people aren't doing it, that it must be impossible. You must have to have like a secret sauce, secret formula. Truth is, most utterly successful people aren't that brilliant IQ. They just like are either naive enough to be delusional to go think that it's possible, or they just are super high risk takers. But those are the characteristics you need.
On the contrary, what's the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
Stay in college. Go slow.
Slow down.
Slow down. Take it slow. Breathe. Relax. Doesn't all need to happen at once. Like, no, that is terrible advice, especially when you're young and you're filled with energy and you're super ambitious.
Take advantage of it. Yeah.
You should. This is the peak you're gonna feel. Like, you should be all in and doing everything you can to be as successful as humanly possible.
And last one, what's one rule that you live by that most people don't?
I just think most people think that they need to have it figured out. Like, most people need to, they play by rules. Like, they think there's rules. Like, they think that there is a way to do something. And something that I've realized is I'm super ADD. I was in special ed. I was in the lowest math classes in my high school. Like, I'm an anomaly in a lot of, like, I've never played by the rules. I've never I've never, like, nothing I've done has been traditional. Even to like get my internship, like, I was the youngest person they hired. I did card tricks for the people that are hiring me, and they just like liked me, so they just hired me. Like, it wasn't because I had a good resume. There isn't a way to do anything, and that the best innovation happens when you give it to someone that has no idea how to do it, and they just try to do it themselves. And like, when you just when you tell people there's a certain way you have to do it like this, that's when no innovation happens at all. So yeah, keep not playing by the rules.
Your card trick reminds me of this story. So Dan Porter, who we had on the show, he's the founder of Overtime. He is a professor at NYU. Yeah. And he was trying to give his students advice on how to get internships in finance, because most of them are looking to go at Goldman Sachs, whatever. And he had this A student that was trying to get in and wasn't working. And one of his other students had worse grades, worse credentials, but got the job. And the A student's like, well, how did this guy get the job? And the story there was so random. Like, it was outside, rainy day, and he was outside the Goldman Sachs office, and he walked one of the partners to the subway station under his umbrella. And it was one of the things that helped him get the job. So I think it's those untraditional things that really help.
It's personal. It's your relationships and your personality and your charisma and just your hustle. Like, I think Jesse Itzler ran like a marathon in like Zico coconut water costume because they didn't have like an advertising budget. And you know, I walked 40,000 steps around New York City every single day for like 8 months, just to try and push this thing forward. And when you're an this is also, I didn't come up with this, but you know, if your car breaks down the side of the highway and you sit in your car and you just are screaming and crying, no one's gonna help you. If you get out of your car and you start to try and push the car, you may not push it that far, but people will stop and help you. And I think a lot of the time, most people just don't even try because they don't have the answers. Or if you just are endlessly trying and failing, but you just don't stop and you're relentless, people will help you. People gravitate towards hustle. And I think it's very underestimated how far just sheer hustle can just take you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's a great way to end it, Josh. Thanks for taking the time to join the show.
Thank you for having me on.
For anyone who has not yet heard of 203 Media, link is in the episode description down below. If you're a brand, work with them. They're beasts. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you guys for listening.
Awesome.